Hey everyone, welcome. Getting my mic. I have a mic. Trying to decide if I need it. Hi, I'm Renata Marino, and this is True North, live from Nantucket. Hold on. I'm in a testing mode because normally I do this from my podcast studio, and this is the first time I'm doing it outside. It looks like I need a co-host, maybe one day. And I don't know if you can hear the sound, but I'm trying to make it as authentic as possible in nature, without making it look like I have a microphone. I've just decided maybe I need to get one of those, like, what is it, lapel microphones hidden so you can hear me, but it doesn't look like I'm speaking from a mic. I just want it to be natural and not for pre-programmed. Let's see if I should push this back more. Setting up my shop, but I'm live from Nantucket, and hopefully this is streaming this, so you can tune in. I'm trying to do this once a week. I probably do it every day while I'm here in Nantucket. But you should subscribe to my YouTube channel so it pops up on your phone. True North is a podcast about overcoming adversity and pursuing our purpose. Pretty much sharing my life journey that involved exactly that. Really, it's to help other people. Give them strategies and tactics on how to overcome challenges in our life as we progress through our life, and be the best source of support and advocacy as I can, as we continue on our life journey. Whether it's professional challenges and figuring out our purpose, which, our passion and our purpose, or personal challenges in our life, death, divorce, issues in relationships, friendships, our children, trying to support our children and be an advocate for them. Everything. I think those of us who've been through a lot, I believe it's our job, our responsibility to help others. But I'm here on vacation, and in my favorite place, and I wanted to, the impetus for really launching this is to A, help people, but B, I want to be able to do it wherever my feet are, and that's how I want to set up my life. So being able to work and help people from wherever I am, and travel the world to be able to speak, and share my story, and to be able to inspire other people to live their best life. So here I am in Nantucket, and normally this is usually a very formal in my studio, but I want to be able to do this everywhere. So I will be doing it from my studio from time to time, but wherever I am in the world, I'm going to be speaking to you live. So again, tune in. Today, I forgot what we're talking about. Today we're talking about influence, and specifically for those of us who are parents, or who had parents. How does our childhood influence who we become? And more importantly, what can we do as parents to make sure that we do not take on societal norms or pre-programmed, what's the word? Biases to tell our kids what's right and wrong. because it could do two things. Continue a pattern, a societal bias pattern that is hard to break. And in aggregate, can affect the evolution and the discrimination and biases that we all have as a society. And if we don't do it in the home, I'm a firm believer is change happens in the home. Don't get me wrong, change can happen from top down, and you look at it from a business standpoint, there's bottom up and top down. That's how you evaluate businesses. That's how you make change. It's got to come from both areas, grassroots and political. Political government with laws and rules and policies, but bottom up from the grassroots, from the communities, from the home, what goes on in the home. It's got to come from both areas, and we meet in the middle. It cannot just come from one area. It can't. There's no way. It's like dictatorship. The problem is, we as a society can't influence what happens in the home. I mean, we can by having programs in communities, Big Brother, Big Sister. Like, we need to have these programs because we can't control what happens when the doors are shut in the home. And I know this from personal experience, but we can't. And you know what? We can't dictate what parents teach their children. And when I say teach their children, I'm talking about, or anybody, caregivers, anybody. We cannot teach morals and values. We cannot teach through behavior. For example, we cannot control the behavior of our parents. We can't control how they act. We can't control what they do. We can't. And we as parents, think about us. Okay, so what what this is about, and what I want to try to help is to broaden. Two things need to happen. We need to be aware of what happened in our childhood, and when I say conscious. Don't go through life like we're on a hamster wheel and we're not aware of our own personal actions. And so become aware of our own personal actions and how it's related to our childhood, especially if those actions are toxic and not only hurt us, but are hurting our children, hurting us, our life, but they're also hurting our children because our children are seeing through. One thing we don't realize, this is really important, is that it's not what we say to our kids. You could say, you know what? Stealing is bad. Don't steal the candy bar from 7-Eleven. Stealing is bad. But then when we're out with our kids, we actually take and steal the candy bar and put it in our pocket. I mean, that's an extreme. I mean, it's maybe not, but okay. Don't do drugs. Drugs are bad, Don't drink a lot. Drinking a lot is bad, but we're drinking an entire bottle of wine every night as moms. I know some moms drink a bottle a night. I mean, I don't know them, anymore, but I know some of them. I know of them. In my own community, affluent community. It doesn't matter. Poor, rich, affluent, it doesn't matter. But you're showing your kids. And by the way, when they're little, like not when they're born, but when they're 7 and 8, they know what's going on. Well, my dad does it, so I can do it. My dad does it, so I guess it's okay. And by the way, if they do that, eventually, like when they get to the teenagers, when you have really no control over what they do, they're going to do that, and they're going to come to you and be like, well, you did it, so I'm going to do it. The other thing is, so what our actions, what we do every day, influences our kids, how we are. Now, nobody's perfect, right? Nobody's perfect. But if we can be, I guess what I'm saying is, if we can be aware, consciously aware of ourselves, You know, for example, like let's put it this way. If we take care of our health, I'm everybody knows I'm all about proactive and preventative health. I'm saying health. I'm saying we eat right, we get up, we exercise, we challenge ourselves. Like I'm running the New York City Marathon. We try to be our best selves. If we as adults, as parents, can try to live our lives to be our best selves, meaning have empathy, show love, be respectful. I mean, we make mistakes, and I want to talk about a mistake I made yesterday when we came to Nantucket, and everybody's, we brought in the luggage. I'll tell this. We brought in the luggage. I love talking about the stuff that I mess up on. Like, I actually love it because no one's perfect. I mean, some people are like, "Oh, we're not a you. What are you not good at? What are you like?" I'm fine talking about my weaknesses. That I mess up. I mess up. Um, but the point is, it's not about being perfect as a parent. It's about being aware. It's about and it's about saying I'm sorry. It's about, what, as parents, we need to say we're sorry to our kids when we know that we messed up. I think some parents can be narcissistic and act like they're perfect and that they should never say sorry because they're and I think that's wrong. I think parents should say sorry to their kids when they need to know that they're wrong in a certain substance and they need to say sorry because I think it shows a level of humanness, and that no adult is perfect. Because what happens is kids at a certain age, I say age 10, they start making decisions on their own of what they think is right and wrong, who they are. They start recognizing that you want to give them the free reign of recognizing who they are. And seagulls. The sun's coming up. I woke up at 5 a.m., by the way. And by the way, oh, I'm not. Usually there's and I should probably move this table. There's a bunch of hydrangeas like on the sides of me. They're actually, there's not a lot of them. Anyway, sorry, off track. The best gift that you can give your kids is that their ability to be themselves. And that's kind of what I wanted to talk about. So let me give the example. So we brought in all the luggage to the house, and this is our 4th year coming to Nantucket as a family, and brought the luggage upstairs. Excuse me. My son was with me upstairs, and normally for the past 3 years, he's been in this one bedroom that has 2 twin beds. And my daughter consistently been in the other bedroom. Sorry, that has a queen bed or maybe a king bed, like a big bed. And both the rooms are the same size. It's just it's the bed. And my son I said, all right, well, you're in that one and Peyton's in the other one. And he's like, well, why can't I be in that one? And you know what? And it's really it's the bigger bed, which is like, I think it's nicer. It's just more, you're not in a tiny bed. And I think I made up some stupid excuse, guys. You know what I said? I said that, well, that's the girl room. That's wrong. I'm gonna start crying. That's wrong. That is wrong. It's wrong. It's like it's like having a bias, a gender bias. It's wrong. It's wrong. And yeah, I'm going to beat myself up about it. I am going to beat myself about it because I do that without thinking. We all do that. We all do that. It's wrong. We do that in boardrooms. We do that in conference rooms. Men do it. Women do it. It's wrong. Well, she's pregnant, and you're at work, and you're in discussion about who we're gonna promote, and you're I don't know who you're a manager or whatever. You're talking with, I don't know, the VP, and you're with HR. You're talking about who's gonna get promoted. Well, she just got pregnant. She's pregnant with baby number 2. Does she really take her job seriously? I mean, these are discussions that happen behind closed doors. Don't make assumptions. Stop. Look at the facts. From the facts, the bedroom. The past 3 years, he's been with the smaller beds. Don't you think it's time for fairness to happen, Renata? I mean, that's a simple thing, but I'm saying that can be amplified and that can be applied to so many other areas, especially as parents, and forget, okay, let's talk about this. Like influence about just biases. I'm trying to think of another good one. Simple things like haircuts. With my daughter, she gorgeous hair, long, gorgeous hair. I want to get my hair cut. I want it short. I want it shaved off. Gorgeous hair, beautiful hair. Anyone, including myself, would die to have hair like my daughter. My 15-year-old. This was a couple years ago. Some parents, and I'm not throwing them under the bus, but some parents would be like, no, because they're worried about what other society is going to think. You're going to shave your entire head. Worried. Because they want their child to look a certain way, be a certain way, act a certain way, dress a certain way, because it's a reflection of the parents. If the child doesn't fit the mold of what you want him or her to be, they want to be themselves, which is not what you envisioned them originally to be. That when you birthed them, you had a vision for what you wanted them to be, to dress like, to look like, to fit in this little box, this preppy little box, preppy, good girl, You wonder why certain kids rebel. And some of them rebel because they're just confined and controlled. And they don't want to and you cannot, as a parent, I say age 10. Age 10 is when your kid is starting to be themselves. And when you start saying, no, you can't dress like that, or no, you can't wear that, or no, you can't put purple in your hair, or no, you can't shave your head. You have gorgeous hair. No, you're not doing that. Or, you know what, you should curl your hair. It looks better. No. And you make them feel insecure about who they are. Or, you know what, you need to lose weight. You need to do this. You're 15 pounds overweight. I'm going to put you on, let's go on a diet. Let's put you on a cabbage diet. Cabbage soup. Once you lose all the weight, once you lose all the weight and you look great, and you start, dressing, showing your curves or your beauty, you're really into yourself. You're really into yourself. Guys, the influence that we have on our kids significantly affects their future, who they are, the feeling of shame, the feeling of self-confidence is hindered. We have to really let them be who they are, and we have to really support their gifts and not make them feel inadequate, because it affects their self-confidence later in life, and it really affects their adult choices, their relationships, whether or not they can really embrace their gifts and their uniqueness, the gifts that God gave them. It really does. Now, and then there's others, and there's other ways. We also can have a positive influence on our kids to teach them grit, tenacity, never giving up. There's positives and negatives. Taking care of themselves. I mean, never throwing in the towel, being strong. There's positives and negatives. But I guess what I'm saying is, if we want society to change, if we want, finish my coffee. If we want biases to change, society's biases, discrimination, it starts with us. It starts with being conscious of what we say to our kids. What I did, it's like simple things. And you know what? When we mess up as parents, I mess up. I don't have so much pride to not say I'm sorry to my children when I know I've said something that has bias. So and it's not even the children, it's anybody. It's anyone publicly saying that you're sorry. Like if God forbid one time I say something, I mean, again, I can have my opinion, and everyone should have their opinion. But if I'm offending certain people, and I'm going to offend people, I already know I'm already offending people. I already know. And by the way, you can't, one thing you do realize, I do realize is, not everyone's going to like me. Which is fine. I'm fine with that. But as long as I'm, sensitive and aware of, biases, I say, public apologies is, I think, important. I also think apologizing to your kids is really important when you know that you've hurt them. Or apologizing to anyone when you know you've hurt them. The sun's coming up. The only reason why is because I have to start running. I'm going on a 10-mile run. I woke up at 5. Anyway, I just wanted to come on here and talk about influence and how really changing biases in the society, it's bottom up from the home, what happens inside the house, and top down from, the government or like the higher levels, and where we meet in the middle. And I do think I'm a firm believer in things start at grassroots, where it starts in the home. And I just want all of the adults out there to hear my story, to hear my words, to really think about what happened in your childhood. How did your parents influence you in your own biases about people? How did your parents influence your own behavior in terms of how you view relationships? What types of coping mechanisms do you have? How you act with people, your honesty, truthfulness, how consistent you are. I mean, really, your upbringing, parents, caregivers, or whoever raised you. We all need to do some deep introspection about what happened and how we were raised, and question what was the good? What was the good? Because I think about my childhood and I'm like, wow, I was raised with grit, tenacity, never giving up. I mean, these are really good lessons. The pursuit of excellence. Like these are really great things that really positively influence who I became as a strong female, a leader, on and off the field. I was raised with, provided education, a beautiful environment to live in, good parents who had good values, good morals, very good, strong, good reputation, community, respect from the community, friends and family community. And then I also, there's the negative sides. We all of us should look at our parents in our childhood. There's positive and negative. It wasn't all perfect. But there's positives and negatives. Okay. And if some of the negatives gave us biases or shamed us or made us have low self-worth or created biases we need to stop the biases. Because if every single family, every single household has those same biases, how are we going to change the future of with discrimination and bias? How are we going to stop domestic violence if our parents fought, or if our parents were abusive to us, verbally abusive, physically abusive? How are we going to stop the abuse? Are we abusive with our spouses? Are we abusive to our children? It's a repetitive cycle. If you're not consciously aware of what you're doing, what if your father was an alcoholic, or your mother? She drank a lot. Or your father, both. They both did drugs and alcohol when you were little. That's what you saw. Every day. What do you think you're going to do? We don't think about that as parents. We don't think that our actions, what we do every day, our habits are going to influence our kids. Oh, they will. And if you're doing it, by the way, and this is the worst. If you're doing those two things, drugs, alcohol, while you're getting pregnant, like you're doing it while you're getting pregnant, like you are actually trying to get pregnant and you're doing those things, that actually is in the child's system, physical system. So they potentially could also be a drug addict or addicted to alcohol. Yeah. You don't know biologically. So you're just setting your kid up for a struggle that they're going to have to face already. And they're like just being born. Nobody realizes this because they're not educated. Nobody realizes this because they're not educated. And actually, nobody realizes this. And maybe, and this is the other thing, they're either not educated on this and don't have the willpower, or their parents did it and it's already an addiction because when they were born, they had it in their system. I'm telling you. This is why our society has so many problems, because it's education, it's hereditary, because, from a biological standpoint, it's just, these are patterns. These are patterns that have to be stopped. Cycle breakers. You have to break the cycle of, there's so many things. And I honestly think it starts in the home. It starts with really strong people like us that stop the cycle, because then our entire future lineage, they don't have the addictions, they don't have the toxicity, they don't have the shame, they don't have the abuse, because we stopped it. And my goal for this is to be a cycle break, to be able to influence other people so they break their own personal cycle in the home. I just want people to be more conscious of what happened to them and how they can break it for the future. Anyway, guys, I hope this was helpful. Again, this is True North. It's a podcast on overcoming adversity and how do we pursue our purpose. And it's really my goal to help other people through what I went through. And I'm going to be speaking. My first TEDx is coming up in September. I'm working on it today. I'm going to finalize it. It's going to be on this very similar subject. And I'm hoping to do multiple TEDx's, a women's TEDx as well. And be a motivational speaker to travel the country to talk about this, breaking generational patterns, how to heal from the past, so we can actually create change in society, family by family, household by household, and hopefully I can influence from the bottom up, and eventually in my future to be able to influence from the top down, from a political government standpoint. We'll see, but that's really my goal, is to help heal the world, one family at a time, one household at a time. Anyway, thanks for tuning in. Please subscribe to my channel. And I call myself a traveling circus. Hopefully I'll eventually have guests. This empty chair, hopefully I'll be able to have several guest speakers to talk about this subject, and really invite people to join me that have been through this and can talk freely and openly about what they did to heal from their past. And everyday people, celebrities, famous people, but anyone who has a challenging story that they've overcome, I would love to invite them to join me, virtually or physically, maybe on Nantucket. Anyway, thanks so much, guys. Have a great day, and take care of your health and put yourself first. Later.